I'm sitting there reading a story to the kids, and he just keeps inching closer. I keep reading, inching closer. I'm like, what is this little boy trying to do? So he finally gets close enough to me that he can swipe my skin. He does. And he rubs his finger like, what? And look back at me like it didn't come off. And here's the sad truth of what I see on a day-to-day basis teaching children. For the most part, I see in our children the same thing I see in society. I love the chocolate color. Hello, sunshine. What y'all up to? Me? I just went and picked up yet another watermelon. I did. I'm feeling real stereotypical now, but I don't feel no ways about that because I know the history of that whole stereotype. Briefly speaking, it was designed to stop independent farmers who look like us from being able to sell watermelons. So they just, created a stereotype that if you eat that, you look extra, whatever-ish, and it deterred people. It worked for a while, I guess. I don't know. But it ain't working on me. I've been busting down. I'm eating like a watermelon a day. A day, y'all. It's good because, and usually I like my fruit warm, but when I get back from my walks, my walks, I gotta tell y'all about that. But definitely hitting my 10K. I just jump right in and start talking like y'all just following my train of thought. If you are, bless your heart, because it's a confusing place. But anywho, hello sunshine, welcome back. If you are new here, I am Kimberly, and on this channel I like to talk about relationships, self-care, and just navigating this season of my life. The people who subscribe to me are called my classmates because in the comments, a lot of times they're sharing their life lessons as well. And if that sounds like your type of zhish, click the like button, hit subscribe. I'd really appreciate it if you also shared. Know that you're appreciated here. And welcome to class. Don't ask me why my eye all of a sudden started watering. I doth not know. But yeah, I'm feeling good. So I'm doing that. And then I even was talking to y'all about doing line dancing. And I don't know what video I shared with y'all, what video of mine that I shared with you, but I saw a lady who taught the Body Yachty dance and Beyonce's, why can't I think of that Frankie Beverly song? Y'all know the one I'm talking about. But yeah, those are good exercises because they start, they stop, they restart, stop, y'all know what I'm saying. It keeps you busy and moving. So I like that. But I'm still hoping it doesn't rain because I really like walking more. I be going out to my little areas to switch the scenery. I can just pound it out and walk in my own neighborhood too, that's true. But I just like a different scenery sometimes and a different vibe for it. Love catching the sunrises. I was out in a more country area where they roll up the hay and all that stuff. I was out there and the sun came over and it looked really, really pretty. It just, like, how can you not just stop and drink that in? In fact, it was a person riding a bike, stopped their bike, and they were filming the sunrise as well. So it's worth it for me to get up at the crack of dawn and then get out and walk. I love it. I'm always aware of my environment though, because I know not all areas are always welcoming. Oh my gosh, y'all. I am just so sad about that Nolan Wells boy. I'm not crying. My eye was watering before I mentioned that, but I am genuinely sad about that because, so far they have not found him. I do not understand how those other boys just left. I don't even believe they just left. If I'm being really, really honest, I think something went on in between those boys. I think they have a good idea. I don't think Nolan's gonna come back in the same physical condition that he left. I could be wrong, and I pray I am. I genuinely pray I'm wrong. But it's already been a little too long, and y'all came back with this phone. Like, where have y'all seen teenagers and how they are with their phones? They do not part from each other. So wherever his phone was, he should have been there too. And then people are having a lot of conversation about it. And it's so, some of it is beneficial, I guess, but other parts of it, I don't know. Here's what I think. And for me, this is coming from my own history, and it's coming from me being in the school system and not teaching a homogenous group. I don't just teach white kids. I don't just teach black kids. Like, I teach the mixture of them. In fact, I can go back to when I wasn't even a teacher. I was an instructional coach at the time. And it was this preschool teacher that I had to go in and observe. Instructional coach, we observed them, we talked to them. Hey, this is how you're moving. This might be a better way, or kudos to you for moving that way. It's not really an evaluative position, or it shouldn't be, but it's supposed to be one in which I'm coaching the teacher. This teacher needed some coaching. However, the same day I go in to do my observation of her is the same day that a new little boy starts in our class. It's a little white boy, and this is a preschool class. I don't know if I mentioned that. I think I was in the building at that time that taught pre-K 8, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, this is a preschool classroom. It's his first day. Just as I'm coming in, he's coming in with me, and it's playtime, center time. So they're doing that, and the kids are playing in the what do they call that section? Life. It's undergone so many names, but it's dramatic play. We used to call it that. Some people call it life skills. It's all kind of names. But anyway, it's where they have the dolls and the cooking and all that stuff. Y'all get the vibe. It's preschool. And so somebody gives him a little doll. And I see it, but I'm not observing him or the kids per se. I'm observing the teacher in her group and the people that she's working with. So I see the whole handoff go on. I'm not really paying attention to it until he burst out crying. And I don't mean, just a loud cry. And I look over and I'm like, I'm trying to get him quieted so I can get back to focusing on the lesson. She had a paraprofessional with her, but the para was just over a little bit from the area, and I was right there. I can't be right there, see a problem, and not say something. So I'm like, oh, what's wrong? How can I help? Whatever. And he said, I don't want to be the bad one. I don't want to be the bad one. I want that one. He's holding out a black doll trying to pass it back because he doesn't want to be the bad one. And so what that tells you is what the studies and what all the research have shown us is that kids are very much in tune with what our parents think and feel. They see the differences. They don't care about them unless they're taught to. But somewhere, this little boy got the message that the black doll was bad, and he wanted a good one. He didn't want to be bad. He wanted the white doll. That's one scenario. No problem. Another scenario, this one goes back to when I am in the classroom and I'm reading a book to the class. I have a little boy. He comes over. He literally, oops, the sun is getting all up in there. There we go. My bad, y'all. But I'm sitting there reading a story to the kids, and he just keeps inching closer. I keep reading, inching closer. I'm like, what is this little boy trying to do? So he finally gets close enough to me that he can swipe my skin. He does. And he rubs his finger like, wow, and look back at me like it didn't come off. All that told me was this little boy had never been in proximity to a black person. He thought it was something that could come off, rub off. I met his mother. She wore a lot of makeup, so I understood why he thought that. Another scenario that just tells you he didn't know. Let me give you one when I was actually a student, and then I'll make my point that I'm trying to make. I'm a student in high school. And I attended a mixed high school as well. Not a whole lot of us, but enough to call it mixed. And it's me and one other black kid in this particular class. Here's a note. Certainly not a flex because I was just a lazy student. But it's an AP class, right? So it's just me and one other black kid. And I don't really know this black kid because he's black, but he didn't seem to be black identifying. Like I noticed in the cafeteria, he sat with the others. I noticed, he in the parking lot at the, what do you call those? The pep rallies and all the functions, he seemed to find his way to sit with other kids. I mean, I knew of him, but I didn't really know him. So cool. We're sitting in class, and it's a history class. This is the first time I actually got in trouble, too. But the teacher gets ready to talk about the topic of slavery, American slavery. And he's just sitting there. I can see him, and, because to look at the teacher, he's kind of in my view. So I see him. And he was talking about how the teacher just kind of introduced it as, for hundreds of years, America captured slaves from Africa. And he looked at me like this dude, you believe he's saying this? And I'm confused. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't even understand what the confusion could be. What? I'm confused about why he's confused. And so he said something about, again, he repeated how, the Europeans needed help. This is how he's phrasing it. The Europeans needed help, and so they went to Africa and captured slaves. And so I'm like, no, they did not capture slaves. That is not accurate. And he was like, what do you mean? I said, no, they weren't slaves. They were people. But anyway, so I ended up getting in trouble for that. I was disrupting class to say that. And to be clear, y'all, I was not a hardworking student. I can admit that. I was very much the opposite of a hardworking student. I was quite the underachiever. Come on now, they trying to do street work, and I just want to go straight. But anyway, so I ended up getting sent to the office because I said that they did not capture slaves. They captured people, and they enslaved them, and there was a difference. And I wanted him to make and distinguish that difference. Come to find out, the other black dude in the class had never been told about slavery, had never been taught, had no idea. I don't know how he didn't know. I have no idea how he had no idea. But I know I had known about slavery since I was very young. I don't remember when my father taught me about it, but my father was very aware. He's someone who has gotten arrested had gotten arrested in protest, so I mean, no, he wasn't going to let me just go out into the world and be ignorant. Why am I saying all of this, and how does it relate to the Nolan incident? I hear a lot of commentary on those parents should have known better. Those parents should have, and I absolutely think that there's a portion of that is true. The parents most certainly should have sent him into the world fully aware of those who are in his surrounding. That's just a part of good parenting. But I also think the other side of that argument is valid, where people are saying, how about those boys should have been taught that that's not what you do? How about others should be taught that that's not how you treat people? That's not how you... That is also true, but realistically speaking, that drum has been banged in America for hundreds of years. That is not a new sentiment. And yet we still have someone in the White House who very much wants to make America great again. And we know that ain't nothing but a dog whistle, for he wants to go back to when not women nor people who look like us had all of their rights. Got it. I just feel like it needs to be said that as unfair as it is, we have a heightened responsibility to make our children aware of what's out there. I know for me growing up, we had some simple rules and we lived by them for the longest. We go together, y'all can even finish the rest of that. We come back together. So the fact that those three left him out there, that tells me these aren't his real friends. And I feel like prior to something this extreme happening, there was probably some breadcrumbs of trouble for this young man to see along the way. But he probably hadn't been taught to look for those. And I get it. We want to be in a society where we all get along, where things are fair, and where black kids and brown kids and white kids and all kids are treated the same, and they get to make all kinds of friends with whomever and whenever. And here's the sad truth of what I see on a day-to-day basis teaching children. For the most part, I see in our children the same thing I see in society. There is a reason that gentrification can happen in America. It can happen in large part because, as a whole, as a rule, Black people are not unwelcoming. We are not unwelcoming. If you're out and about and you see a white boy getting down dancing, you're going to what? Cheer him on. A lot of people will cheer that on. I've seen the very opposite happen. I've seen where, oh my gosh, don't let some Black person be out there having Black joy and just dancing. I have literally seen someone tell them this isn't the time or place. Or I have seen, if I've seen, I don't even want to keep going with that because it's going to sound like I'm leaning a certain way, and I promise you I'm not. I'm simply saying this. There's a reason that gentrification can happen. It's because we are more welcoming. We are not likely to go spray paint on someone's house, go back to Europe. That's not happening. But there is a group of people who's more likely to do that. I think too that this past election, this presidential election, should have been a loud, not a dog whistle, a loud whistle that Black people need to stop trying to include themselves in that group of POC, because we're not people of color. The people of color, the Asian vote showed us. The Middle Eastern vote showed us. The Hispanic vote showed us. These are all people who are typically included in people of color. They had a stance, and then Black vote had a different stance. And I think we would be remiss to not pay attention to that. I sincerely hope, with my whole heart, sincerely hope that Nolan comes back okay. But the fact that those boys brought their tails back and brought his phone back, I don't feel good about that. I just don't. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But from my profession, if you don't listen to me as a person riding around in their car talking, listen to me as a person who has taught a couple of decades across the color spectrum, year after year. The thing I have consistently seen tells us that as a people, we need to make our children aware. It does not feel good. It's not a happy conversation. We got to have a different talk. I don't know what you see Chad do if and when he gets pulled over by the police. I don't know what you see them do when they go out. Like, it's a talk that has to be had. From the video that I saw, it about looked like Nolan was not just the only one in that group. If there were more, they must have been like flecks of pepper in a snowstorm. I didn't see them. That's, in this America, that's just not safe. Especially if you're unaware of your environment. That's all I'm going to say about that. And I cannot believe, can y'all believe that somebody, we're talking about the 80s, that somebody did not know about slavery. Give you further context on that boy in high school. So I had him in that class that semester. I didn't have him in any more AP classes after that. I'm not saying that's the driving incident, but I never saw him in another AP class. He went down a real bad rabbit hole. Like, he just started doing bad. You could tell he had gotten on drugs. It was just a whole different person. And again, I didn't know him real personally to know his story, but I do know. He asked me about that, and I was like, yeah, dude, we had slavery for hundreds of years. Yeah. I mean, and he was shook. Ironically, I'm even talking about this because just yesterday I was talking to y'all about how, no matter how much senility, dementia, and all that stuff sets in, people don't forget to be racist. Here's why. I mean, it starts, come on, car. It starts when they're like 3 years old. They get the idea that those are bad people. People that look like me are bad people and things like that. It's crazy. I've had parents too, and I can't leave it on a negative note because it's worth saying, and I have to say, I've had parents too who were white, who were so thankful that I was their child's teacher because they know what grandma and grandpa are like. They know what their child might hear or might be exposed to. And they're glad that I'm their child's first teacher. In a lot of cases, the kindergarten teacher is the first teacher still. And they're so glad because they feel like that'll counter that. Had another white parent, they are so funny. I had their first kid in kindergarten, and then I later taught their second kid. And they were like, man, we just want to give you an update on so-and-so who is now in high school. And they were like, we think, thanks to you, he only dates black girls. And I tell you, that's part of the fear. That's part of the fear that white people have. Those backward thinking racist white people, part of the fear that they have is that by association, white kids might learn that, oh, wait, we were told black people were horrible people and this and that, but no, turns out da-da-da-da. And so, yeah, their parents were like, yeah, we swear every time. We're like, is he ever going to bring home a white girl? And they're like, nope. First girl he fell in love with was a black lady. That was you. So that's cute. I mean, it's not all negative. There are many, 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 many white people who understand the assignment, who don't want racism to go on, but they're also telling me that they're aware. The fact that they're saying, hey, we know that they might be exposed to this and that at grandma and grandpa's, and we don't think that way, and we're so thankful that they're telling me that they also know that it's a real battle to be fought. People think that it's enough to not be racist, but no, there's a guy, it's a good book. I think it's called How to Be an Anti-Racist. But yeah, it's not enough to not be racist. We can't talk about, you actually have to be anti-racist. You actually have to put in the work to reverse those thoughts because they're out there. If you're thinking me not telling my kid about it or me not exposing my child to it is doing them a favor, I promise you, you're wrong. It's just not preparing them. That boy in high school, I'm telling you, took a nosedive. It was an immediate difference that you could see. It was like he felt betrayed or something. I don't even know. And so some people might think, see, that's why you don't tell them. No, they're going to know. They're going to encounter their share of Karens. They're going to have issues and problems. The question is, are they going to be prepared for it? I just feel like before those boys left Nolan there was a breadcrumb or something that was dropped, and he probably didn't have the tools to recognize it. And so that it's good parenting, in my humble opinion, to help them to recognize those clues. And then at school, we'll do our best to level it out, to educate them and teach them about it, to teach them how to be anti-racist. But you still got to do that prep work for kids. Oh, that's a good one. Mm-hmm. That's what I love about getting in July. It's hard to find a melon in July that's not right. But y'all, let me tell you something. The other day, my girlfriend and I went to Legends Outlet Mall out here. And why did we, we originally said we need to do something other than a bunch of wine tastings. That's cute. I like the way it'll slice it like that, but I don't keep it like that. I like it cute. But anyway, we were like, yeah, we need to do something other than wine tastings. That's my wine tasting friend. And so we were like, yeah, like shopping or something. And I said, yeah, we've done that too. True enough, we've done that too, but in girlfriend fashion, It's always fun to do it in pairs and groups than it is solo. I don't know, I take that back because a lot of times I like moving where I want to move, changing my mind, switching my plans. But anyway, she and I end up going out to Legends Outlet. And we went to the Coach store. Now, just to give you a little background on it, back when that whole DH Gates thing came out, and the people were talking about, the people from China were saying, oh yeah, all them purses get made here. They just send them over there so that the people can put their little stamp on it and go from there. After we had talked about that, she was like, oh, don't I feel silly? I've got my Louis, I paid, I forgot how many thousands she paid for, da 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 da. She named off some purses and stuff. What about you? What about, I know you usually carry Coach, but what about, I was like, no, I usually get my stuff from the outlet mall or something. I can't think of the last time I bought, I can't think of the last time I bought a purse directly from Coach. But anyway, I said, no, I can't think of the last time I actually paid full price for those. And she was asking me, what's the difference? I said, they say there's a difference in the quality. It's not like, and I think some people think that you buy your purse from an outlet, from Coach Outlet. I don't know about all the other outlets. But I think people think when you buy it from an outlet store that it has a defect or something's wrong. And that's not the case. Uh, they claim, and I think they say this just to sell it because I've had Coach bags from the outlet store for years. But they claim that, oh, they don't use as quality goods. The zipper may be of a less quality or something. I've never had any issue whatsoever with any of my bags. And when I say years, I've had some of my bags for 20 years, I know. But anyway, getting back to it. So we go out to this outlet store, and I'm carrying my little Amazon dupe. The one where I put the real Coach tag on the Amazon dupe. Yeah, that one. Over comes a sales clerk. And she's like,
Hi, welcome in.
hi, thank you.
Love you, Krista.
Oh my goodness, I know you were waiting a while to get that bag. Da, 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 da. So my friend starts elbowing me because I had already told her when she asked me before where I got the purse from. I told her I had gotten it from Amazon, and she was like, "Are you like embarrassed because of the whole DH?" I was like, "No, I legit got this off of Amazon. Ain't no gatekeeping, embarrassment, none of that. That's the truth." She said, "Oh, but she's a salesperson. I know. I guess you don't know her own product or a fake from it." I want my baby to have your eyes. I'm going against my own advice. Should I do New York? I can't decide. Fashion week was more your thing than mine. I can't even lie. I'd rather stay inside. I can't do suit and tie. Can't be in one room with you and stand on different sides. One thing at a time. I have to learn to hide. One thing at a time. Emotions running high. Good morning. So now we know the fate of young Nolan Wells. I mean, it's so doggone. It's senseless. It's sad. It's ridiculous. I wish I could say it's surprising, but it's not. I want my prayer, honestly, is for the family and the true friends of Nolan to find some sense of comfort at this time. At least they have an answer. And prayerfully, they'll have justice. It's so ridiculous. This is just, it feels like this America, the current administration and stuff we're under, like this comes on the heels of those pictures on the 4th of July where there was a young man separately, there was a young woman. They were riding public transit, and all around them were people who were publicly their enemy. I mean, they had the masks and everything. I can't even imagine what that's like. I wonder where they were going, because honestly, if it was me, I don't know. I guess you couldn't even get off, because if you got off, what if some of them got off with you and you had a different tragic ending? So I don't, it's just, these are some rough times in America. But to sit there and be surrounded by people that you know are your enemy. But I guess we see what happens when you're surrounded by people who are quietly your enemy too. Like, it's just, we have to be smart. We have to be wise, and we have to impart that wisdom on our kids from a young age, because they're getting messages. We just have to make sure they get the good message, the positive message, the message that might save their life. These are hard times, folks. Much prayer is needed in America. Much prayer. I'm actually glad I didn't see this last night and have it on my heart and mind then. Last night I was pretty much just unplugged. I went on off to a class.
Roll. Roll right, roll right, roll left, right it up. Start off with 5, 6, 7,
8. It was a step class too, so I was just living my little life, trying to get my steps in, drink my water, eat my melon, and just go about the business of life. So I guess this is a part of life. God bless America, right? But God bless us all.
Hot chat, 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 chat.
Oh my gosh, I need somebody to save me from myself.
To the park, I'll have you home before it's dark. So let me know, can I take you?
A simple look, never basic.
She caught me by surprise.